Deposits don't come from ads, they come from belief. Just let that sink in for a second, right? It's a pretty stark truth, but honestly, it's something that most brokers out there are completely missing. They're operating on this entirely different and frankly, totally outdated set of rules. You know the drill. They run ads, they get traffic, and they watch the numbers tick up on their dashboards. But when it actually comes down to the metric that pays the bills, the deposits, nothing converts. Continuing to just buy ads like this, it's literally like shouting in a crowded room and expecting someone to just hand over their wallet. It all boils down to a fundamental misunderstanding of trader psychology. So let's unpack the real currency of deposits here: belief. Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're looking at a major paradigm shift in client acquisition. We're calling it belief engineering and the Forex authority funnel. Look, if you're in the business of attracting traders and securing deposits, what we're covering today is going to completely rewire how you think about your marketing spend, your public relations, basically your whole strategy. We're moving away from those old, clunky, ineffective models and stepping into a framework that's built entirely around how modern traders actually think and act.
Now, you might be wondering why the old model is failing so spectacularly for so many brokers. Well, it's because we have a massive pattern interrupt happening in the industry right now. Absolutely everyone is optimizing for attention. They want the clicks, they want the impressions, they want the eyeballs. But here's the harsh reality. Attention is not trust. Getting someone to look at your banner ad is, it's basically like getting a swipe on a dating app. It doesn't mean they want to marry you, and it sure as heck doesn't mean they trust you with their money. Attention is cheap. Trust, on the other hand, is incredibly valuable. And right now, brokers are spending absolute fortunes just buying attention, mistakenly believing they're buying trust.
Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is how it reveals a stark contrast between a broker's fantasy and a trader's reality. The broken funnel treats hope like it's a legitimate business strategy. You run ads, you get clicks, and then you just kind of pray for deposits. But step into the trader's reality, and the entire picture changes. Modern traders do not instantly deposit just because they saw a flashy banner. No way. They go straight into investigative mode. They actively try to verify who you are, hunting for specific signals that tell them your brokerage is legitimate, safe, and authoritative. They're performing their own serious due diligence. And this brings us to the absolute breaking point of that traditional method. As these traders are doing their research and trying to verify you, they are looking for those crucial signals of legitimacy. And if those signals aren't there, bam, they bounce. The funnel instantly shatters. All that money you spent on the ad, all the effort it took just to get that click, is completely wasted. Because when the trader actually looked closely, there was absolutely nothing there to back up the broker's claims. All right, moving into section 1, the authority funnel, and what actually works. Let's move to the new framework and see how this builds. It's a highly logical 4-step progression that's perfectly synced with human psychology. Step 1 is visibility. I know, it sounds super basic, but people actually need to see you in the right context. But visibility isn't enough on its own, which leads us seamlessly into step 2, credibility. Once they see you, people need proof. They need to know you're real and respected by others in the space. And that proof, it naturally creates step 3, trust. People need absolute confidence before they part with their capital. And only after you've established visibility, credibility, and trust do you finally arrive at step 4, which is deposits. You cannot skip straight to step 4. You literally have to walk the trader through this exact progression. So that brings us to section 2, the engine, and exactly where PR fits into all of this. Now that we understand the steps, we have to ask, what actually drives someone through these stages? Well, public relations isn't just some vanity metric. It's the direct fuel for this new machine. So the crucial point is how we map these mechanics. Media creates that step 1 visibility. Being featured in the right publications puts you right in front of the right eyes. Then mentions create step 2, credibility. When third-party, highly respected platforms talk about you, they provide the exact proof traders are searching for. Finally, your overall PR presence builds step 3, trust. It surrounds the trader with positive, verifiable signals. And, as we know, that trust is the only thing that ultimately drives the deposits. PR is the engine powering every single step of the journey. Which brings us to a total redefinition of client acquisition. We aren't just talking about marketing anymore, we're talking about belief engineering. Belief engineering is moving entirely beyond those traditional marketing tactics. It's the active, strategic use of PR to purposefully build visibility, credibility, and trust, all with the singular goal of driving trader deposits. You aren't just trying to catch an eye here. You are actively engineering the specific belief system a trader absolutely requires to feel safe handing over their capital. Moving right along to section 3, the compounding loop effect. Now, if you master belief engineering, something incredible happens. It isn't just a linear funnel with an end, it evolves into an infinite loop. This brilliantly illustrates what happens when PR is deployed correctly. Visibility generates trust, and trust generates deposits. But here is the magic of it all. Those deposits elevate your status, making you a major player with a growing brokerage. That new credibility feeds right back into creating even more visibility. The cycle doesn't just end, it keeps compounding. Every single success feeds back into the system, generating even more momentum and ultimately a whole lot more cash flow.
So, to wrap up this explainer, we're left with a definitive mandate. To fix the broken system and tap into this compounding loop, brokers have got to stop chasing empty traffic and start building genuine authority. It's about engineering belief rather than just hoping and praying for a conversion. The old playbook of optimizing for cheap clicks, it's completely over. You really have to ask yourself, in a market that's just flooded with noise, are you paying for fleeting attention or are you actively engineering trust?